Okay, we're going to start off with the top 10 findings that we currently have. And so on the findings here, this would be since our last board meeting. So you can kind of see more of a fresh look at what's happening right now rather than just the cumulative look. So this is going to be broken out into the audit side of things. Then we'll cover the survey side of things here in just a moment. But first off, here on the audit side, again, this is from April 24th through November 22nd, the top 10 findings from audits. And this would be number 10, the audit notification to the OCMI. Now, this is a very avoidable situation right here. And to find that it's number 10 really is a little bit difficult to understand. This has been in effect, for a few years now, and it's not that overly difficult to make a notification to the OCMI. It's not that we're having so many that are doing it late, but we're also having those who fail to do it at all. We really need folks to pay attention to this, and obviously the Coast Guard is the one who receives that notification, and then they can decide if it's late or not, whether you get to continue on or do it or not. Even if a notification is made late, it still would be a finding, even if the Coast Guard said it's okay, you can do it within 48 hours, still a finding. In at number 9 for the audit findings is the charts and nautical publications. I found this one here a little interesting because this is not new. This is not a new Subchapter M requirement. While there's a Subchapter M reference there, the charts and nautical publications requirement has been under 33 CFR for, well, as long as I can remember. So it's a little bit interesting to find out that in the advent of electronic charting and electronic record keeping systems, that we're still having issues with charts and nautical publications. Next up is number 8. This is the record keeping for towing gear. This is a newer one to Subchapter M, so I can see why this would still be kind of one we're trying to figure out a little bit. But you have to make sure that there are records of examinations of your tow line, your face wires, etc. So a way to identify which one is which, to describe them, and to have records of inspecting those. Number 7 is the approved equipment, and that's kind of a little bit ambiguous until you dive down a little bit further into 142 and understand what that means. But that's referencing back to fire extinguishers, semi-portable, so hand-portable, semi-portable, fixed systems as well. So these basically were the things like missing pin seals, inspection records, and those types of things. It wasn't necessarily that the equipment wasn't approved. Number 6 is the reports and documentation required for the TSMS option. So findings from the previous survey or audit not completed as identified in the accepted corrective action plan. So this again is one that kind of I think is important to give you a fresh look, because you can see here at number 6, this far into Subchapter M, people are having a challenging time figuring out how to implement their TSMS. And I say that because if you have a corrective action plan that's went through TVIB and we've accepted that corrective action plan, it's up to the owner or managing operator to carry that out. And then we'll talk about verifications. The corrective action plan has to be followed through. And you see here with number 6 that we have quite a few failure points across operators where they're not getting that done. Now, it's not wholesale forgetting, just not doing it, but it's the, maybe 2 or 3 things not done. Overall, still something we've really got to get better at. You see, when we're talking about objective evidence, if you ask yourself or have been asking yourself, why is TVIB wanting objective evidence? Well, this coming in at number 6 is one of the reasons, or one of the evidences that we need to do this, because people are not fulfilling their obligations under the corrective action plan. Moving over to number 5, general alarms. Again, general alarms not new under Subchapter M, but we're still having some failure points on this. So this rule actually has been around for at least around 20 years, 25 years. So it's kind of difficult to understand why we're still having general alarm issues. I know you're going to have 1 or 2 issues maybe here and there, but to come in at number 5 over the last 6 months, it's kind of a high number in my opinion. The supplemental red flashing light and the sign, that's what we're talking about here, not the general alarm as far as the audible annunciator, but the light and the sign. Very, very easy things to addressed ahead of time. Again, these are on audit findings. Moving to number 4, permit to carry excursion party or a temporary extension or alternate route or alteration of route of the COI. This has been, again, one of the newer things under Subchapter M that's been developed. The auditors are finding that captains are not aware or they can't really articulate the company's practices for permit to proceed, or if they're an alteration of route or extension of route on your COI. That's a newer one. I get it, I understand. People are still learning this, but we're time to start moving a little bit forward on that one there. Shipboard lighting, here again, another one that's not completely new to Subchapter M, but emergency lighting is missing or inoperable. The no evidence of the 2-hour duration or use of the electric phosphorescent adhesive lighting strips along the escape route. Should have underlined the bottom part there where it says along the escape route. We've also had instances where people have taken a small section, about 12 to 14 inches of this, basically it's glow-in-the-dark light, a tape, and they put it where the emergency light is. That doesn't really help a person when they're trying to escape. That might help them see where the emergency light is or supposed to be, and even though it's not illuminated, but it's the escape route, the glow-in-the-dark, so someone can actually find their way out in the dark. So think of if there were a generator failure and it was nighttime and there are no emergency lights, how's a person going to be able to see that egress route? So they're going to follow that glow-in-the-dark tape to show their way out. Number 2, the inspection, testing, and maintenance records for portable fire extinguishers. Just a little different than the other one that we had back at number, I think it was number 5 or 6, about pin seals, etc. This is actually the records of the monthly, annual testing or the hydrostatic testing of hand portable fire extinguishers, semi-portable, and fixed systems. And finally, number 1 under vessel audits is the vessel security. Expired TWICs, annual security audits not being performed or missing the letter or evidence on board, restricted area signage, and then crew not familiar with MARSEC levels. Again, I think it kind of sound like a little bit of a repeat record here, but not a new Subchapter M requirement, one that's been around for several years. So we have some opportunities to improve here. Of course, we're always going to have a top 10, so regardless of the volume findings, something's always going to come in at number 10 and something's going to come in at number 1. Hopefully this gives you an idea on the audit side of things where some failure points have been occurring and where you might be able to move forward